Hello, my name is Kepka14, and today we're going to be making a tutorial of Chameleon Twist 100%, specifically the Japanese version. There are a number of differences between the US and Japanese version in regards to every category, but they're the most differences in regards to 100%. We'll talk about each of those as we go through all the different stages in the game. First up though is Jungle Land. Also, for the sake of this tutorial, let's play as the Japanese exclusive White Chameleon. Here we go. First level, Jungle Land. So timing begins as soon as you press A to select your character. Just mash A to skip through a cutscene, like so, and you'll load in right here. From here, go straight left. You'll grab the first crown. There are two collectibles we need to collect for the definition of 100% in this game. Carrots and crowns. There are only 5 carrots in the game, one in each of the 5 first levels, but not one in the final stage. And every level has a different amount of crowns. Jungle Land has 25. As I just said, the first one is here. From here, you want to go up right and get crown 2, and then up left. We'll be continuing up left for a decent while. And you can see crown number 3 in sight. After here, up right. You want to walk about to the edge of this little, like, mountain nub right here, and reach for this pole, and spin around. Like so. It's assumed that if you're running a category like this, you already know how to do some of these mechanics, but for the sake of potentially not, the way that you do a spin is you press B to extend your tongue. The longer you hold it, the longer your tongue will come out. You can use the joystick to control where the tongue goes until it's fully extended. Once you grab a pole, keep holding B and then press A in a direction and you'll spin in whichever direction you choose. Simple as that. Anyway, once you get here, we're going to come to about right here or so. If you look on the ground right in front of the chameleon's foot here, there's like a black dot. A very specific kind of dark black dot. I like to go to about right before it and reach for this pole. Let go once you hear that you've grabbed onto this pole from spinning. That's another thing worth mentioning, is you can actually spin into other poles. And, yeah, let's take a look at that right now, actually, just for the sake of movement. Notice that because we had enough length, we grabbed onto this pole. One thing worth mentioning is if you let go of B while attached to a pole, your tongue will instantly retract. Regardless, from here, we're going to jump over this edge, and now we get to talk about something called slope boosting. It's not as important in 100%, but if you have a frame-perfect jump after sliding down a slope, you'll maintain the momentum from the slope. See, there I missed it. We had normal walking movement speed. Let's see if we can get one. There we go. Notice how much further we jumped. It's not a huge difference, but it does save some time. From here, we're going to jump about right here. Try to be like right in line with the corner of this lily pad and just right off to the side of it, like right here or so. And we're going to reach for this pole and spin to the left. Grab the crown number 4 on the lily pad and jump across. From here, we're going to continue right until we get to right about here. So notice that we start to go downhill right about here, and we can see a log above us. If we press down C twice and jump and kind of come up here, you can see there's a crown on top of it. There are a couple ways of getting this crown. You can go around and climb it, but you can also do a vault and reach it. A vault is when you're running and you press Z. The chameleon will do that. If you press A during this, you'll do like essentially a high jump. So let's talk about the angle needed to get the crown with this vault. It's kind of tricky, to be honest. It's not too terrible if it ends up taking a try or two. I like to run towards this black texture right here on the ground. If you notice, it kind of like has a fork on the end of it. I like to run towards that black texture at the angle that it's at and flip up towards it like so. The timing for the jump is kind of specific. See, like that wouldn't work. I was too close to it. You want it to be before you start to go downhill. So something like that would have definitely worked. Anyway, moving on. Continue right and go into the log. One thing worth mentioning is if you walk into this log in a weird way, you can get kind of stuck on it and stuff. So it's sometimes better to just do a little short hop into it. Stay against the left side of the log, or this side of it, right here, and there's a crown inside of it. Coming out of the log, try not to be against the edges, or sometimes you'll kind of get snagged on the geometry, like so. Try to be like right in the center. From here, we want to just continue around this corner. Now, there's a couple ways you could do this. You could tongue your way around like so. But what I prefer to do is come straight around this corner. Try not to touch the corner. You can get stuck on it. Like so. And you can even fall through it. Anyway, come around this corner and then fall down here and grab this crown. Now, when you fall down, you're going to be right in line with that top porcupine, and it'll do damage and cost you some time. The best way I've kind of found around it is to just do like a little spin. If you notice that, like right when I fell, I did like one of those with the joystick. It slowed me down just enough to be able to kind of adjust my direction. So there are 2 crowns behind this waterfall. This is one of the differences between the US and Japanese version in Jungle Land, and there actually aren't many in Jungle Land to talk about, but this is definitely one of them. So, this water in the US version doesn't do anything to your momentum. In the Japanese version, it greatly decreases your momentum. The same applies for this. Notice how we scoot down it. In the US version, you can just go straight through it. So, in the Japanese version, the best thing to do is to kind of walk straight into the corner of it. Notice how behind it we've not lost any momentum. And again, there are 2 crowns back here, so just walk into the wall, more or less, back here. After you get about to here, you can see the tip of your chameleon coming out, jump up here, and go around this corner. From here, we're going to continue right and go up here. There's a couple different ways to get up here that we should talk about. The most common and popular way is a neutral vault. A neutral vault is when you're standing still and you press Z. You'll do that, and you can hop out of it. It's not good all the time, but it's a little faster than watching the full animation of a full vault. So the most common way that people like to get up here is like so. Another way is you could just do a full vault, of course. It's not going to lose too much time. There is a more advanced trick called a cuss flip that's quite difficult to do. I'm sure you can see how it works. You turn around and go backwards out of your vault like so. Very tricky. I recommend learning the neutral vault way. It's tried and true. Anyway, once you get here, if you can see, we're under a shadow. Get right under the middle of the shadow, neutral vault up, and grab a crown number 10. From here, go down right and grab crown number 11. And crown number 12 is right down there. You can see it. We're going to jump down and then fall off the edge to the left. It's important that we fall off the edge to the left, because if you fall off the ledge in front of you, you can get stuck on the geometry and you won't void out as quick. After you respawn, though, hold right, jump up, and we're going into the cave. So, this is one thing I really like about 100%, is we actually get to play the cave section of the game. Hasn't been played a long time in any of the shorter categories, because there is a skip that goes straight to the boss where we clip backwards through this door. So, let's check out cave. From here, you want to go down right, past this box, and you can see there's a crown right here on this edge. Sort of try to jump about right here from this black spot, but hold back a little bit on the joystick. And then neutral vault back up and out. From here, we want to cross this bridge. You can walk around. You're not going to lose that much time to do so. I like to try and jump onto the bridge from the side over there to cut the corner a bit. And then we're going to go through the door. So after coming through this door, there's a couple ways we can go about this, but there's a crown over there, if you can see it on that platform. We're going to spin directly into it. Now, one thing worth mentioning is if you hit a crown with your tongue, you retract and you don't collect it, like so. So we want to spin our body directly into it. Finding a good positioning for that is ideal. So if you look at the ground here, you can see this one little, like, rock triangle. I'm walking around it right now. You want to get to, like, right before that hit or miss. And then let go as soon as you see yourself lined up over here and go through the door. So this room, there's a lot to talk about. There are 4 crowns in here. One under each of these respective little white spider nest, like pod things. The pattern that the spiders spawn in is really set, but after they spawn, their movements are random. So, like, their initial position is the same every time you enter the room, but where they go after that is sort of just up to the enemy AI. The best path is a Z path. Watch closely. Come in and hold down left. We're going to grab these two guys, shoot, shoot. So I noticed I missed the back one. That kind of sucks, but it's not a huge time loss. After that, we're going to go back down to this one. Hopefully, we would still have a spider here, the second spider I grabbed before, but we ended up missing one, if you recall. And that's that. Try to avoid grabbing the power-up in the middle there. It's a big head power-up. We're not going to need it. It's not very useful for what we're doing. So there are two things to collect in this room. This crown, and actually this stage carrot is in this room as well. So getting to the crown is a little bit tricky. There's a couple ways you can go about it. The most common, and I will just say definitely the easier way, you don't want to grab from this side, because notice our tongue just hits the crown and retracts. So you want to grab the pole from the left. Some people like to come up here and grab it, like so. You're more than welcome to do that. It will cost a little bit of time. I like to try and grab it from the corner of this platform. So more or less you want to kind of grab it from the left, like so, and then spin when you get really close by. That's the most common way about it. It does lose a little bit of time over a slightly more optimal way that I'll show you now, but it's definitely viable. Way number 2 is to, again, come from the left, let go. Almost as soon as you're to the pole, and you'll boost in. You can even actually get a good enough angle to boost directly into the crown. Like so. From here, you want to come slightly to the left of this pole and behind it, and spin, and try to let go and land on that platform there. It is not the easiest spin, as you just saw. Like so. So there's our carrot. You can't, again, carrots are like crowns. You can't collect them with your tongue. From here, you want to try and do a bit of a diagonal jump over onto this, and we want to leave some of these platforms here. It's worth noting when you walk on them, they're going to fall. So we want to have some back on this edge so that we can jump back over here a little bit easier. You'll understand what I mean when you see it in action. So about from this gap in the bridge that I'm standing on right here, you want to jump on over. Grab the carrot, turn around, jump, and then jump around. Notice what I mean by leaving a couple of those planks there. It makes that much easier. From this point, we actually want to grab 2 of these spiders. If you grab all 3, it's not a big deal. Come in here, jump and shoot that golem, and then jump and shoot that golem with B if you have 2 spiders, so you'll shoot them both at once. The goal of this room is to just kill both of those golems. Normally, you walk up to them and they wake up, and they move around, and then some spiders spawn. We can avoid all that stuff by just shooting them preemptively with the spiders from the previous room. Anyway, grab these 2 crowns. But one thing I wanted to talk about here, and it's a very, very, very small thing, is the hitboxes for crowns when walking into them. You don't really have to be, like, in the direct center of them to collect them. I'll show you what I mean. So notice, we were, like, right on the edge of where its shadow would be. They have a kind of large-ish hitbox in terms of touching the chameleon's body. So what I like to do in this room is walk into this crown, and then actually make a slight arc this way, and collect this crown from the back of its shadow. It saves a little bit of time than from walking all the way into the center of it. Again, I know that's an extremely small thing, but it's worth noting. Coming in here, there's 1 crown in here. It's over there. We're going to spin directly into it to cross and go through that door on the other side. There's a very good reference point for this. Walk forward, walk forward, walk forward, until you get to this gap right here. Grab the pole, spin, collect. It's an extremely consistent strategy. This is a very good room to practice wide spins in and just general tongue movement. Try to make sure your tongue is as straight as possible when reaching for poles, unless you need it to be curved for a specific reason. Because the more of this sort of stuff you have, it takes up time. So the next room has probably one of the trickier strats in the game, but first we have a really easy crown to get. As soon as you come in, run and jump up onto this. We're going to ride this across to a crown that's on the other side. You can see it in the back. You can jump over pretty much after you collect that heart, and then we're going to fall down and respawn. Now here is a very difficult strat. There are a couple ways you could do this. You could do it the easy way, and it would definitely cost a pretty big chunk of time, but not the worst. But the way that we like to do it is like so. And I messed it up. Notice I jumped off the edge and tried to grab this pole. It's not an easy strategy to do. We're trying to get to that crown over there. The intended way is to climb up from over there. But that's a lot of ground to cover. So the strategy we've come up with for 100% is that. And it's sort of a strategy that pays homage to an old any percent strat when Cave was still ran, where we would spin and then drop below onto the railing below in order to just get to the end of the room sooner. It's a very difficult strategy. It's one of those things, though, that once you do it a couple times, you start to really get a feel for it. Let's take a look at it again. Essentially what I'm doing is I'm running and jumping off of this corner. I'm going to do it from back here, though, so you can see without me voiding out sort of the direction I'm jumping in. Like so. And pretty much at the apex of my jump, I'm tonguing, like, up left. But not quite up left. It's slightly an off angle. So if your angle is off, your tongue will clip into the wall. This is a strategy I definitely recommend practicing. It's probably the hardest thing, at least in the first stage of the game. You want to try and make sure that you're wide enough to clear the wall, but not too wide to where your tongue clips into the wall and you can't do the spin. Let's move on. So from here, you want to run straight across the room, jump over this rabbit after you touch the heart, collect the crown, and through the door we go. I'm not going to talk about the boss strategies, but I will fight the bosses and say sort of my general thinking. Run forward to the end of this texture, reach up, grab left till you get 4 butterflies. Shoot, as soon as you see him raise his arms, make a sort of S shape, grab those butterflies, shoot, he's dead. If you want to see a better disambiguation of the boss fights, I recommend watching Quill's Any Percent and All Levels tutorial. It goes in much more depth about how to take on these bosses. This tutorial is more for collecting all of the 100% requirements. Next part will be Bomb Land.